Now let's get to the CME Group for a very special and slightly early edition of the Santelli Exchange. Rick.
Early, I say, in addition to everything we're going to do on the Santelli Exchange. Welcome, Robert Shiller. And I think, this is the bastion of capitalism you are visiting. And another area of capitalism to the average guy on Main Street is the investment in his house. Right. Pretty much the biggest investment he has. Do you think housing has bottomed?
I've been reserving judgment because I think we've seen rallies that fizzle before. It's not, once it gets going, it has a lot of momentum. But right now it could be partly seasonal. And it's just not clear yet.
We have had a lot of false starts, and you're right, there's seasonalities. I remember Mr. Greenspan in 05 and 06 many times, and even earlier, saying you don't have to worry about housing in terms of correlations. Everything's so dissimilar. There's so many houses across the country. That probably staved off the bubble effects for a while until it gained traction. Then it was a big rock falling. How is that going to play out if we're bottoming when it tries to go back the other way?
Yeah, well, the question is, we have rallies in Phoenix and San Francisco. The question is this really nationwide? In the last few months, it looks like it. But are we going back to the early 2000s where the correlation across markets got really strong? I don't know yet. It's just too soon to tell.
Now here, where everybody trades everything, including houses, is tradable in their minds. And my analogy is, if we think we are bottoming, if I say we're bottoming in the S&P futures, the question is, okay, I'm going to buy them because it's going to rally. If we're bottoming, that doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be a liftoff, does it?
Well, I think, look at the last housing cycle. It peaked around 1990, and it started falling only a little bit. It wasn't as dramatic a cycle that time. But then how long did it take to take off again? It was a decade. So we've been going down for 6 years now. That's why I don't want to just change
I'm with
quickly.
You, actually.
I mean, it might still be going down. And we have a lot of world economic problems that are staring at us right now. The IMF just came out with this report about an alarming slowdown in the world. So I don't know that I just don't see the reason to call this yet a major turning point.
All right, now let's switch gears. Let's pretend we're talking to somebody who doesn't pay much attention, but they might be in the housing market. Even though you don't think it necessarily can be called a bottom or it's going to shoot up, if you're looking at a house as a utility of living there, It's pretty much a great time to buy from that perspective, right. Is it not?
Well, the government wants you to buy, and so we've got mortgage rates at record lows. And I don't know how, we didn't find that the mortgage rate helps us forecast home prices very well, but it certainly affects your bottom line. And you can lock in a 30-year mortgage rate. It practically is negative. It's not quite negative real rate, but we have negative real rates on tips, on long-term tips. And so it's like money for nothing right now, and so I think some people will want to do it.
I have to stop you there. You just said some phrases that make me smile. Money for nothing, I think Ben Bernanke. And right before that, what you said is, low interest rates don't necessarily help you forecast what housing is going to do. In my opinion, that was a very, very kind diss, that the low interest rate policy isn't necessarily the medicine that's going to fix housing. It might not hurt it, but it's not going to fix it. Would you agree
there's
with
so
that?
many other things that it's animal spirits. And there's no way for Ben Bernanke. He's a nice guy, well-meaning. I admire him. But how do we expect him to fix it with just one button to push on the money supply basic? Well, he's got more than one, maybe. But he doesn't have a way of changing our animal spirits.
I agree. Now, let's even take this a step farther. People out here are all about animal spirits, okay? But they believe that when you have the head of the Federal Reserve come out and say we're going to keep interest rates at a low level for a very long time, I don't see that building animal spirits. I think most people hear that and they go, wow, it's that bad. Is he actually hurting the animal spirits?
It could be, because it's so much is psychological. And we have a whole new field, behavioral economics.
I love that,
and things can be paradoxical. You're absolutely... So people are puzzled by this economic situation. We haven't had this since the Great Depression, when interest rates are just stuck at zero. People wonder, how can that possibly be true? How can people be happy with a negative long-term real rate? Puzzling.
See, when my kids go shop, they'll see this store that has a sale in their window every day. But the stores that only have rare sales, when they say last day of a sale, my kids run in to buy.
Right.
Maybe if interest rates were thought to be going up, maybe it would have an effect of getting people to...
home buying.
Yeah,
Right.
So what's wrong with that side? We never hear any of this explored. We have a one-dimensional medicine.
Right, so this asks for advice to home buyers right now. Is this urgent? Should you buy right away? Because A, interest rates might go up, or B, home prices might go up. And I just don't see the urgency. You know, I can see that Ben Bernanke is right. He'll keep his promises. And the housing market won't. This rally we've seen will fizzle. I'm not predicting. I'm saying very likely it'll just be a bumpy road for years. So take your time.
You know what? Thank you for your objectivity. Robert Shiller, back to you.